This is the first episode, number one. As you can see, I got my Uncle Flex, aka Justin Davies. You want to tell him a little bit about yourself?
Why you still calling me that, man?
I always call you that.
You bigger than me.
No, I'm not.
You flex.
I think
Flex more often than I do.
I think it's one of them things where it's like you gotta pay not homage but like respects. I guess like a respect type of thing. Like you always see somebody in that light. Um, speaking of nicknames and stuff, I still don't know why y'all call me Leecho though. To this day, I've always wondered why. Like, where did that come from?
Lee Joe is just I don't know, like a play on words, I guess. Because your name's Elijah, and I think Elijah, it was like Lee Joe. I don't know, kind of like an inverse of your name. At least that's why I used to say it. But that's honestly that's the only reason why.
I've used that name so many times, like with there's like different games, and I'll always people like shorten and be like Lee, but then people also like because they ain't see my face on be on game, they'll be like think like I'm Asian or something. I'm like no, because of the Lee part. But it's like I always didn't mind, and especially when I see like other people come from like childhoods and nicknames. Because at first I didn't really think I had one, and I remembered I had the Lee Joe one. Have you ever had any childhood nicknames before?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like grade school, people used to call me by my initials, JD. As a kid, because I got B's, but B's was like college age nickname. But as a kid, yeah, like JD.
How was your college experience?
My college experience.
Yeah.
What part of it?
I want to know the juicy parts. I went to college. I got like, man, it was the worst. I feel like I got the worst of it because when I went to college,
COVID.
yes, it was around COVID time. Because at first I didn't think I was gonna go to college. I ended up deciding to go to college because I was like, oh, the typical traditional thing. Oh, you gotta go to college, do this. You gotta go to college because you're not doing anything. And then my dad, or I guess in their case, stepdad, he told me he was like, well, usually when people don't go to college, right when they graduate, they end up not going next year. Because I told him I was like, well, I plan on going like take a year off, then going. It's like most people don't do it. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna do it. So I'm not gonna say I felt pressured doing it, but I think I did feel a little bit pressure to do it. It showed me a couple things. It was kind of regretful because when I did go, you don't remember Issa, do you? I was talking to this girl named Issa for like 2 to 3 months.
Issa Rae?
No, we was talking, and I was going to, I went to Tyler, Texas, right? Yeah, Tyler, Texas. I went out there, and I was like, I'm a, huh?
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said, shout out Pat.
Pat. He went out there?
Mahomes.
He was out there?
That's where he's from.
Tyler, Texas is Texas.
Tyler, Texas.
That's weird. That's actually weird. I honestly think there's some. I'm gonna get into it later, but I think there's something going on with Texas. Not like literal, but like for some reason I feel some type of way about Texas. But yeah, I went out there and some COVID was happening, and I was already feeling some type of way because I was moving away from home. No, I didn't know nobody out there. COVID was going on, and I was only out there for I guess like a scholarship type of thing. You know, what's mom's friend? The lady.
Ebony?
That does, yeah, Ebony. Ebony helped me get a scholarship. Yeah, she helped me get a scholarship, and I went out there to help like with women's basketball, be like kind of assistant or whatever, like with the coaches and stuff. Yeah, manager, and man, that opened me up to so many things because when I got down there, I didn't really know what to expect exactly. I kind of was in and out, but then I feel like I disappointed the managers, and I disappointed Ebony because when I did get down there, I wasn't like really taking it too serious. So, and then on top of that, I was like going through a little heartbreak thing. So it was weird timing. It was very weird timing. Who is Issa Rae? I don't even know who that is. I don't know who that is. Was that a model or something?
I don't know. I just know the name. Nah, but my college experience was a tale of two. What's the phrase? A tale of two.
Tale of two what?
I don't know. It was just two very different experiences. The first half of it, I lived at home, so I commuted. For y'all that don't know, I stayed with my mom from. Matter of fact, the first 3 years I lived from home. So anytime I was going out there for, practice, classes.
What was that like? Was it like, did you do that intentionally or was it just like finance stuff? Or
both. I mean, I decided to go to college close intentionally. I didn't want to go far, so Avalon was close enough that I could commute. But yeah, I would drive there. Sometimes when I didn't have my car, she would drive me and drop me off, or I would drop her off at work, and then I would go and then come back home and pick her up from work. So it just depended on how the schedule played out. But when I was coming from home, going back to campus and back, I really didn't have like a social life on campus. Like, I had my friends.
Do you think it made it weird? Like you still went to like parties and stuff, did you?
No.
No.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a tale of two halves. Like the first 3 years, I really wasn't on the scene like that. I went for sports, I went for classes, and then as soon as I was done, I was out. So if there was a party, I didn't know about it. I mean, and everybody that I was good friends with also did the same thing. They commuted. They didn't stay on campus, so we kind of had our own circle. So
you went for like
Larry. It was just us three, and we all commuted, stayed off campus. But
you went for like college, or not college, but you went to college for sports and stuff. The funny thing, I didn't actually at least my college experience when I didn't even go to. I went to like one class. I don't even think I actually went to. I didn't even go to.
What?
I only went to one class. I haven't. No, I went to like a few classes, but like after like the first and second week, I went to a party, which was my first college party. And the first college party, I went. Mind you, this is the middle like COVID, so this was like the top peak, and it was like at the capital of COVID because we was at Texas, and it was getting like high ratings. But we went to a party, and so I'm with this dude named Ty, and he got like some cousins and stuff that was down there with him. So I went down there, and coming from, I haven't really been out too much before as far as like party wise, because I just never really saw it benefit. So that was kind of like my first time really initially going out. So I go out, nothing too crazy, and then that night, actually the next day, I was trying to go to the basketball to the courts and stuff like that to help out, and I was just like feeling weird. I felt so weird. Like when I say like, if you could take like a gloomy day and put it into the embodiment of a person, like that's how I felt. Like it is like I felt fine, but like some with my body was feeling weird. I think like when it compares to like every sickness, I think it felt different.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that they overhyped COVID because I got over it within like a day or two. It didn't feel good, but it was similar to like the flu.
Yeah.
You got it?
COVID?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like twice, 2-3 times.
2-3 times. You didn't take the vaccine, did you?
I did.
Oh.
I did. I've done.
Bruh, why?
What vaccines did I do? I did. What's the ones?
Pfizer, Johnson, and something.
Nah, not the Johnson, not the Pfizer. What's the other one?
I don't even know I just know they got
the one that's not Pfizer and not the Johnson & Johnson. I had that other one, and I got the first dose and the second dose, and then that's it. I worked at a hospital, so I
They made you
Pretty
do
much
it.
had to. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, I worked with COVID patients, so I had to have
That's
the
wild. What was it like? Did they like tell you, oh, you got to get this, or was it like you just they said, hey, we're
They
coming out with these, and
said
you just ended up getting it?
we advise you all to get the vaccine, but there were ways to not get it, like medical reasons or religious reasons. So you could get around it, but
I think
I was just like,
at the time that they came out with them, I remember talking to my friends saying like I'm gonna put down religious reasons because it was just something about it because the first thing I related it to was the mark of the beast, but it wasn't like it just felt not saying that it was that, but it's something about it didn't feel right.
it could have been like practice. It could
That
be
but
like a practice run.
that's what I talked to a couple of people about, and I was like, I do believe that it was preparation because like if you take COVID and you see how everybody reacted when that hit and people freaking out grabbing because I was working at the grocery store in between this time, so I was working at Walmart and people literally the day that the news came out, the next day I come in literally toilet paper getting take like you can't even find no milk like I'm telling you like we're all like trucks coming in that we don't even have anything in the back like everything was taken and I was just like I felt because like when I grew like when I got older it's like when you reflect on it it's kind of like I see more of what the government tries to do or what they're doing. I don't know how you view the government but like when I look at it because it's obviously it's two political parts. Are you know when I think about I think you like liberal. Oh, okay, what are you? What would you say?
I don't know.
I
I
I'm a,
couldn't tell you.
I'm gonna say the same
I'm a case by case.
case by case.
I'm not one that I'm like, oh, I'm this and I'm that and I'm always gonna be that. I think as you go through life, just kind of like you said, as you grow and understand and maybe grow a family, maybe learn some perspectives and some views that you didn't know before. I've kind of always been that way as a person. I am not just like, oh, I'm a Democrat, or oh, I'm a Republican, oh, I'm liberal, oh, I'm conservative. I think there's pockets of life where you make decisions based on the situation you're in, and sometimes it might be a decision you make that's closely aligned with liberal, closely aligned with conservative, or it might. I mean, it might even be different pockets throughout the day where I might make a liberal decision or a conservative decision. So I couldn't tell you what I am.
You know what I genuinely do believe this. I think our the like the whole concept of liberal and Republican. I really do think is a scam. The reason being is because like you're familiar when people be like the higher ups and stuff like that. Not to say like conspiracy, but like I think when you really sit down and think like what are these? There's two different sides of it. I love this phrase and it's kind of like if I had an apple in one hand and a banana in another hand and I said pick one and you pick the apple. But at the end of the day, I'm the one that's deciding for you because I gave you only two options. Who's to say that you can't have the other option? So it's like that's how I see like it's not really a matter of which it's a matter of who's less evil or who's more compatible in that moment. So I could agree with you in that way because it's like when you think about it, it's a lot of the things that are placed in front of us are very fragmented, especially when it comes down to like entertainment, politics, and sports. Whatever it is, everything is fixed in a certain way or a certain light. What may seem to us is enjoyment, but I know people even like look at the words like television. You break it down as television, which might not be like cause like even
You mean like tell
yeah like television
a vision like that?
and then like the day I think back in the day like probably like around Nana's time where there'd be like a program, like you watch a program, I'm watching a TV program, like they're programming. That's just how I see it. Like I don't really see it as in, because I feel like with the time that we're moving in back then, it was okay. Well, we look towards the government for everything was just handy dandy. Oh, it's just this and this is that. But now the time that, because we're in a time of like knowledge, we're in a time of, you know what I'm saying, things getting exposed, just people knowing more. So it's like when you look at stuff like that, it's just like, what really is going on behind the scenes? Because I could be sitting up watching a movie this whole time, but I don't really know what's going on with the cast. I don't know what's going on with the people putting it out there. So I guess it's just figuring it out along the way. That's just how I think about it, um, especially when it comes to like government issued programs as far as like the vaccines or and I genuinely do think that the next thing is gonna be have you heard with Elon Musk, he's doing the new implants. He's doing implants.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I heard a little bit about it.
now I'm not gonna say that is the mark of the beast, but that's a big indicator to what we possibly could be looking at. Um, and when I see that, I'm like, I already know that this is gonna become another COVID thing because it's like you already got you go to the store. What are most 9 times out of 10 most people don't carry cash. You might have a card or you might use Apple Pay. You gonna swipe this, you gonna connect this. And the way that they made people freak out then, it's like, okay, well, at some point they're gonna be like, okay, well, we're gonna need to go to this only. We're gonna need to go to tap only, or are you getting sick of blah blah? We're trying to, what I'm saying, just like, because everything moves with time. Everything moves with the economy. So eventually they could get to a place where they're framing it as, oh, well, we don't have the equipment to deal with this anymore. So you're gonna have to get on our schedule, or you're gonna have to do this. Just like in the Bible it says, like they're gonna make a way to where you can only buy and sell and do certain things like this. So I definitely think that the whole COVID thing was intended just to see how us as a people react, and see how much control that they do have with us. Um, and then it's just weird. It's just like it's just weird, and not even just that, but like just with the way that they go about things when they're like that we're gonna take like worrying about gun control or worrying about certain things like this when clearly we have other things to worry about. And it's like most people might be confusing, but I think the main thing that we have to focus on as a people is you have to realize these people are mainly about money. These people are mainly about power. So what we might think, um, and don't get me wrong, obviously there are people in government that do take things serious. There are people that are trying to fight on our behalf, but there's a lot of people um, that make crazy decisions, like wild decisions.
Yeah.
What do you think I don't know, you heard about that thing, we were in Afghanistan and Biden had people pulled, like we put a bunch of money over into that area and then they out of nowhere they just made us pull out, and then we lost even more money, but it was like most people were like we shouldn't even have been over there for real in the first place. Or
Yeah.
what do you think about stuff like that? Because that's what I see when it comes to like.
I think the United States is always. I just think they got their hands in too many places sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling like something's their business when maybe it's not. And
How does that feel to know like our lives are in the hands of somebody else that might or might not even have the best intention for us? So I think
is it though?
that's it. Do you think it's scary?
I said, is it? You think your life's
I
in
mean,
their hands?
well, I heard somebody say that everything is backed by action and um I forgot the word, but I can't remember. But threat. Like if you don't pay your taxes, you're gonna be met with pushback. They're gonna take you to jail. If you hurt somebody, you're gonna be taken to jail. If you if we go to war, and then you say no. It's like
So you don't think we have free will?
I don't believe so. I mean, yeah, and the thing is, even if you own something, the government can do anything to be like, okay, well, blah blah, we can hit you with tax fraud or this
Regulate
happened.
it.
Well, we found this back in your past, so you really don't, we're gonna take this from you as collateral or whatever. They can like at any given moment they can do anything that they want, and it's just like, we're by the grace of God, hopefully it don't happen, but it's just scary to know that things like that are our lives or our livelihood is in the hands of somebody else. I actually wanted to ask you, like, if we were to go to war, like, like if we were to go
We
to
just got
war,
out of war.
what war?
The war on terror.
On, but if we were like, if we was, because I don't think we would go to war. I think
We went to war when you were,
it was 2001.
yeah. So how old were you?
I mean, I wasn't even. No, I was born.
You were born.
I was born.
You was a baby.
I remember Nana she told me I was in the back seat of her car at the gas station when that happened. You had to be like 8 or something at the time, right?
Yep.
Could you?
Fourth grade.
What was that like as a kid? Could you even comprehend that?
What, when we went to war or
I know you
9/11?
you was crying, wasn't it? You cried? No, like when 9/11 happened.
No, I didn't cry. I didn't realize what was happening. Because I was at home. I was homesick that day. I was at home sick, and
Oh,
it was on every channel. So, I'm at home trying to watch TV, movies, cartoons, whatever.
you
But
probably
it's
didn't even
on
care.
it's on every channel. As a kid, I'm just like, man, like where my shows at? Why can't I? And then
Oh,
mom,
they did that.
huh?
Was it like what if
They
how they
put it
do in
on
the
every
movies and
channel.
TVs were like
Yes, we interrupt this. Yeah, it was on every channel, and so you know,
that is
mom called,
crazy.
checked on me. I was like, I'm good. She's like, all right, well, I'm coming home. They're sending us home, so she came home, but I was at home sick.
That's what was do you I don't know if you can remember do you remember what life was like after that initial attack? Like 'cause as far as like when I hear other people's stories, it's like some people was like it just felt some people felt it was like really dark and gloomy. Other people like everybody was just really really friendly with each other. It was just like everybody connected and came together as a nation that day and for like the next probably like 4 years or so.
That's what people say. I don't. I don't think I was old enough to know.
I think
Like I was very like just like innocent as a child, not knowing. I
yeah.
just was like, to me, all I heard was like, oh, terrorists knocked down some buildings. Like I don't even think I connected that it was New York.
Mm.
I don't even know if I knew what New York was as a concept at that age. I just knew that it wasn't where we were. I knew it was far from where we was at, and so it just I felt kind of still disconnected from it. I don't think it hit me until I was I old enough to like really grasp that
Like what
what
happened?
happened.
They couldn't
At
have
least a
been
couple
teaching
years
in the
later.
schools because I know they taught in school like telling us about history and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah, it just felt like that. It felt like a history lesson. Like
but
we went to war in 19 whatever 18 something something.
in anywhere in your like
The Battle of
school,
Gettysburg and this
did
like
they bring it up? Like high school or middle school, they brought it. Because I remember when I think middle school or high school, I mean, we've talked about it, but I think it's weird like thinking about history or being in the middle of history because like even when I went to school, stuff like Obama becoming the first black president or we killed Osama bin Laden. It was like we're in the moment living those things, but then in the next like year or two, that's in our history books now. Because I remember the whole 9/11 stuff that was in our books and in our classes. So it's kind of weird to think about.
it may have been in our books, maybe in high school, Definitely not middle school, but maybe high school. I can't remember. We were still we were I mean we were still in the middle of the war. So well we didn't finish up the war until what?
I don't even. It had to be before Trump got in office. Cause it ended with I'm not too pervy on like stuff like that, but I think he took.
Obama's
That's when the
second term.
SEAL Team 6 took out so and
We
so.
either came out of it during his first or second term. If I'm totally guessing,
Mm.
but that's how long we was like in Afghanistan, like fighting and doing stuff. Like
Do you know anybody that went overseas to?
nah, no. So part of it is still kind of disconnected from me,
Mm.
even now. As a grown adult.
You know, what was I don't know if you know too much about this or like have too much experience about it or with it, but can you remember even times like with I want to say like a father figure being in the house?
Living with us.
I mean, just being in your life in general.
Um, I mean, Eric was always a father, like just like a male figure in the house that I think.
So you looked up to.
Yeah, for sure, I looked up to him. Honestly, that's probably it. Cause I mean, Nana had boyfriends and stuff, but
Mm,
they was never really in the house. And then she was engaged to be married, but he still wasn't living in the house yet.
right.
So I didn't really have that. Like, I didn't see him on a day to day to day. Like, you do this way, this way, this way, and like his lifestyle. So
Well, what was it like with? I mean, your actual father. Like he's back. He always stayed in back in Africa, didn't he? Or where did? I remember somebody said that.
no, he was born in Africa, but
Oh,
he
so no,
lived
he
in he lived
like
in a couple
Massachusetts or
different
something.
places. So he lived in Texas, in Houston, Texas. He lived in New
Oh, there go
York
that word
slash
again.
Buffalo area. He's lived in a few places. The last time I talked to him, he was in the Buffalo area.
How old were you? Do you remember?
20. I'm trying to think. Let me think.
I
Maybe
remember
29,
29.
28, 29. No,
You had been
29
in
or
like
30.
I thought you was like in high school or something. 'Cause I remember seeing a picture of
The
you
last
with
time I
them.
talked to him or the last time I seen him?
I guess that's a good question.
I talked to him on the phone
I guess seeing him. When was the last time you just seen him?
like during or right after COVID. But
That
the
you
last
seen
time,
him?
no, that I talked to him.
Oh,
The
okay.
last time I seen him, high school graduation.
I could see that. You know, when it
Or my
comes to
sister's graduation, which was a week after me.
my mom.
No, I have an
Oh,
older sister by like
do you talk to them much?
no.
Yeah, I got. Yeah, that's a weird pocket to be in. I mean, especially because I've always um growing up I like my obviously my as you probably already know, but my figure to look towards was you at the time, like
Me?
because you was like 8, 10 when we started living with you, and that's when I was like I'd get up, play the game, stuff like that.
10.
I think,
Exactly. How you looking up to me? I was a little kid.
but because you the only person that I had around, but like I mean, I don't know,
That's funny.
I don't I don't know if like the whole fatherhood thing affects you because I mean I didn't really think about it until because I mean until today it still affects me. Not it hasn't affected me in that way, but like I've had a lot of bitterness, and certain feelings
That's
as far
good.
as like growing up.
That's good. Let's go there.
Uh,
Let's go there.
man, I mean, cause so it's kind of it's a little weird place. So when I was growing up, you're not really gonna think how it affects you until you move on. And so growing up in a house, for those that may not know, um, my younger brother's father, which he's the father to two of my siblings, uh, he was kind of around right when I was around like 4 or 5, I think. So he came around. My other brother, younger brother, popped up, and there was, some situations we went through, whether it be abuse, not for us, but my mother went through abusive situation and verbally abusing, just a lot of toxicity. And so coming from there, we ended up moved a lot in my life, and so we ended up finding, or she ended up being with my stepdad. And so my, and this is because this is how I see it. That it's nothing against, and I don't even, I've never talked to him about it. Well, he probably see this now, but I mean, I've never had a problem. I wouldn't say a problem as a young child growing up, and you getting put into a situation. It's like, who is this man? I don't really know this person. Is kind of weird, and it's like, you're already 8, 10, 12 years old at this point. It's just like, it's kind of odd. And so um growing up, he was pretty strict, which I wouldn't say was the part for me. It was more so he's he's a very loving father. I would say he's a very loving father. And me as a young man, when I was trying to grow up, there was just certain things that I I don't believe that I found or could see in him, and so it was very conflicting to me, as a person. And it's no hate or anything. At the moment when I was younger, I had like certain like bitterness and resentment, but that was just in a immature way of looking at it.
You
And
want to know
so,
something crazy?
huh?
So you want to know something crazy?
Hmm.
When I met him, I was a kid. I mean, we had known of him.
Hmm.
Your mother was acquaintances with him for quite some time. So when I met him as a kid, I used to be like, that dude is cool. Like, I I can see why I can see you saying that he's a strict person because the interactions that I did have with him, I did notice that, and I was just like, dang, dude is kind
Yeah.
of like, just like not like an aggressive personality, but I still was like, oh, like he's kind of cool though, like
I
I
remember
was
I even
like,
get my first flip phone. I mean, not even flip. I didn't even get my first phone until I was like 13, and I only had a flip phone. That was when the iPhones was out. Everybody had like iPhones and stuff, which I was grateful for. But it was like it felt weird because I was like, asking people for like their numbers, and you can pop out a little flip phone. It's like, oh, it's like, bro, this. I don't know, but I mean, even with my thing is because that's when I was like having certain conflicting thoughts, because when obviously you're in high school, you're trying to find yourself and see yourself in a certain light, or trying to figure things out. And so when I was looking at, even when I got in football, right, and I'm like looking at other people, I'm like watching one of my very good friends, K2 and Keyshawn, and some other people I played sports with. One thing I couldn't latch on to was, why are these their fathers was more so, and this might sound weird, but their fathers were like more macho, or, hey, you about to do this, or blah blah, like kind of like tough love, but in a way where it's like building up as like a man man. And like I said, I don't condemn him for it, because at the end of the day, like, you never know where people have come from. You don't know, and which he's related to me, like, he hasn't had a father in his life, so it's kind of weird as a man growing up, as a man trying to figure it out, because like there's a lot of, especially in our community, like the black community, there's not a lot of men,
yeah.
that really take fatherhood seriously. And obviously, I think that it might be getting better. I don't not too for sure, but especially for my kids, like I'm gonna be there for them. But it's just it's just very weird because like at the time I was like trying to figure myself out, and I was like I want that type of tough love. Like I want to be in sports, but I want to figure like, hey, do this. Like I'm about to take you out to the field. We're about to do this. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And it
And
was just
see,
like something
yeah.
was missing, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm not feeling manly enough. And so when I look to him in certain ways, and he's more so like laid back or like working in the house. He doesn't like do too much activity, which everybody their own thing. And so it's just like to me it was weird at the time, like trying to figure it out. And so at the time it was just like I kind of built up resentment, as far as like bitterness and that, like where it's like I want to I want more, like I want like like a father. And so like when I looked at all these other people, it was the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
See, Eric did a lot of that for me. I mean, he was the guy that was like, if I was in a sport, come on, let's go out to the field, let's put the pads on, and like let's practice, like that kind of stuff. Get just like introducing me to toughness
right.
in like the masculine side of toughness for like when it comes to sports and discipline and things like that. Um, as far as like not, because I know what you mean. I've seen. I didn't really have friends that had father figures around, but when I would be like with Lamont and
Mm,
he'd be around his dad, that's when I would see it.
right.
Because even though he didn't live with his dad, he was with him a lot, and I would be with him when he was with him a lot, and so I would just see like, oh, like that's what dads do, or that's like what dads can provide. Me growing up, I didn't have that, and I never had it. Right?
Mm,
A lot of people, a lot of people in this situation will have had it for a little bit, or get bits and pieces of it, and then it disappears, or they only see it sometimes.
I think
For
the
me, I never saw it. So I actually was never outwardly bitter at
right.
my dad, at not having a dad or anything. Because to me, normal was, it's me and my mom, my brother, my sister, and that's normal. And some people have dads and some people don't. But I ain't know my dad like that, so I was never upset about it. But I did recognize as I got older and older, just like, oh, I'm missing something. Oh,
Right.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
totally missing. Even now, even now in marriage and just
Mm.
living life, it's like,
I
how do
think
you
it's
be a
just
husband? How
the
do you
masculinity.
support someone other than myself? Because a lot of me growing up, it was just me supporting me, and I didn't see an example of a man
Mm.
supporting a family or supporting
I
a
think
woman.
it's really the masculinity side of being a man. And when I say that, don't get me wrong, because my stepdad is he's very loving. He's very I grew up in a loving home. It's just the masculinity side is where I feel like I was not sufficient in, because like I said, whether it be the sports or teaching, I believe that like teaching a son how to fight or teaching a son how to work on the cars to like fend for himself if need be. Because when it comes to a man, you are supposed to be the foundation of both genders. Where it's like it comes to protection, providing. Okay, you're the one to problem solve. You're the one. So it's just like when it comes to the masculinity side of it, that's where I felt like I lacked, and that's where I had a lot of conflicting thoughts. Um, and at the time, since I was young, it didn't hurt me, but it just made me feel weird in a way. And like, I mean, obviously, because he taught me how to, obviously, like take care of yourself, be responsible, do these certain things, which
Your stepdad.
yeah, yeah. I absolutely love that he helped me with how to be a gentleman, how to do certain things, right? Um, but it was just a side that I didn't get. Where like talking to girls, where learning how to fight, and it was like a lot is and that stuff is important. And it might seem like silly or not really things that you would think, but
I'm not
as a
laughing at you.
man,
I'm laughing because I'm like,
yeah, I
I
know.
feel the exact same way.
You do what I do, cause I had a therapy session with my dad and my with my girl in the past, and I don't know why, but like I just like laugh when like it might be because of like a sense of relief, like you would laugh, but it's like a relief because like that's true, like that I can relate to that. But yeah, it was like as I got older, it was just like I did take some of that bitterness and I was like I'm gonna just teach myself. So that's when it was like I get into boxing and teach myself. I have a car. Okay, I'm gonna look at videos. I'm gonna work on it myself. I'm gonna figure it out myself, or um, just certain things. I was just like, if I can't find it, I'm gonna just and it just came automatically. It wasn't like I made that decision, but it was like I'm tired. I just want to do it and learn it. Like I want to. And how I see, I don't know if you ever thought like this, but like when I was young, like not younger, but like as teenage coming up through my 18, 19, 20, it was like I would do certain things, but I would be like, I know that I'm gonna pass this on to a child one day, or I know I'm gonna have to do and be there for my family in this way. So I want to gain not just all of this for them, but then also for my character because it's like if you really think about it, us as people, like our individual, our consciousness, our feelings, our thoughts, we're like a gaming character, and it's like I can add on to myself whatever I want to add on. I can work on myself however I want to. Like this is my figure, my icon that I can work on. So it's like at that as I progressed throughout the years, it's like okay, I'm gonna get out there and teach myself how to talk to girls. I'm gonna get out there and do certain things, and I think I did fairly well.
How did you teach yourself how to talk to girls?
So I think putting myself through the ringer, but I took a lot of L's. I took a lot of when I say I was like I was the one in the friend group that was getting done dirty, like not done dirty, but like you couldn't take on no two man or you couldn't take like not really talk to nobody. But like at a certain point, it was just I was just like you know what I'm gonna just do it. And obviously you get stuff on social media where it's like certain stuff pop up. I don't know if you know Steph is cold.
Who?
Steph is cold. You might not know him. He's like some YouTuber, but I actually learned a little bit like I feel like I think I learned a little bit of like talking to girls to like friends and stuff here and there. Like I'll ask them questions like when texting up into the point where it's like I could just rely on myself, and then at some point I just saw results, and then kind of just it's really weird because like when you look at stuff that you used to do in the past, it's like you find it cringy, but like you know that's like not even just with girls, but like with everything. It's like I know I used to do this, but like I'm in a different place and I see it in a different light. Like obviously the
Yeah.
way I used to text or talk to girls is way different, but it's more attractive now, cause like you might oh well yada yada text here oh I'm a I should come pick you up and like trying to be slick and smooth, but it's like when you look back at it now, it's like, bro, what?
Yeah.
So it's now it's like, hey,
Yeah.
8 p.m. I'm gonna come get you, and that seems more attractive. You get what I'm saying? Like it seems more
Yeah.
attractive because you're not really having to
But
think or put too much effort.
did you like research out like how like what to talk about in
Oh, best,
conversations, how to approach like that? Like
oh,
you did
best
research
believe
on that
that it as corny as
from
it
your friends or
sounds.
whoever?
As corny as it sounds, I did. You know what? I even when I was in middle school, my first kiss, I looked up how to kiss.
Okay.
Like,
No, I'm just asking
but
because I never, for me, that was never my forte either. Like just talking to girls, but
I was
the
girl
approach that I
crazy.
made, my approach that I made was just like, all right, I'm gonna take care of that, and that, because I know how to take care of those things, or I feel comfortable researching how to take care of those things, and then the girl part will just come, or
But that's
whoever wants to talk to me will talk to me. I'm not about to. I'm not gonna.
see
I
that's
didn't think. I didn't think my research skills were good enough to me to even apply it. Even if I learned how to do this or talk to them or approach or kiss or whatever. I wasn't going to
So
put it
would
in
you say
action.
it's was it out of fear or was it just like I'm not gonna
Oh, for
focus,
sure, it was
not
out of fear.
focus on y'all?
Of course, it was out of fear.
Cause I mean, I see like, I wish that, I'm not gonna say I wish, but like I was very girl crazy when I was younger. But like I wish that it was, cause I'm telling you, when I seen like my friends do it, it was just like, when I say all of my friends were cold at talking to girls, it was crazy. Like most of my friends that I'm talking about, I found more of my kind of like friends in high school, and it was just like the way that they're like the swag, like they just don't care. Not just like a dickhead, but like they're just like, it just doesn't matter. Like it just comes naturally. Like, the swagger that they had is just like, I could talk to her. Like this girl wants to talk to me, and I'm just like,
Kids say no.
I don't, I don't know, but it
Charisma.
was charisma, charismatic. Just
Riz.
the what they saying now is they be saying aura, I guess, but
Okay. Aura. Yeah.
the
Riz.
the aura that came off of it was like, I'm like, I don't like, that was something I was trying to figure out when I was in high school, at least, cause I was girl crazy. And I was just like, bro, I don't, I'm just, I'm the church kid. I don't really know how to talk to girls,
I had so
and
many barriers in high school.
it was, the funny thing though, I think high school, cause a lot of people talk about like peaking in high school and peaking in college. There was something I was gonna say earlier about college. I think I don't think that high school is where you find yourself unless you're like leaving high school and you get into the real world. I think college is where you actually find yourself because you start to realize like your friends aren't really, that you might think aren't really your friends. The things that you might think you want to do aren't really your same interests, and it just opens you up. I did want to ask you about marriage though. Like, what's it like being married? Married? Is it, is it
Being married is great. No, I'm just playing. Being married
is a challenge?
it's a challenge. I'm learning something every day, and then sometimes I'll be like, all right, got it, learned it, been through that lesson, I understand, got it, and then it'll be another situation where that exact same scenario will come up, and then I'll realize like, oh wait, I've been through this already, and I already learned the lesson, but I still gotta dig for that answer. So I think like the challenges that arise, um,
What is that?
it's a wind sound out there, but the challenges that pop up during marriage, as time goes by, just what I've learned through a year is you're gonna have some challenges that repeat itself, no matter what it is. Um, but you're gonna have to, that learning curve gets shortened each and every time. It's gonna come a time where something that trips me up 6 months into the marriage, a year into the marriage, 5 years from now, I'm gonna be like, it won't even be an issue because I'm gonna be like, oh, I've been through this. Like I'm gonna recognize it even before it comes along. I think just the other day, I was with Francesca and her sister, and I was responding to something that she said. But as I was saying it, it was like, I know I shouldn't be saying this. Cause,
Yeah.
and not that I shouldn't say it, but I
uh,
know that if I say this, it's gonna make her feel a certain type of way.
but something else, and you wanted to say it.
I said,
Was it like a pride
I
type of
completed.
thing?
No, I complete. It was funny. It was funny to me.
Uh,
I completed what I was saying because it was funny, and I knew that her sister would think it was funny. But as I was saying it, I was knowing like,
yeah,
all right,
obviously she's
be
gonna
upset.
feel.
Now you go back a year, I would have said it, and then I wouldn't have realized how it made her feel, and then we would have got mad. I would have got mad that she felt sad when I was just trying to be funny.
So would you say that you're in a better place now as opposed to then, even if, because I mean, okay, say back then you wouldn't say it, or you would just say it without realizing, but now would you say you would say it with realizing?
Either I won't say it or I'll say it with realizing and just be ready to
Just have the
feel
conversation.
that part. Like I'm ready for it. I know the emotion it's gonna cause in you. I know how to handle it. I know how to respond. or I can deliver it delicately enough that it doesn't make you feel that way. Whereas before,
I mean, I'm not married yet, but I think the biggest challenge in marriage is, I don't think is talked about a lot because I think I see marriage as one of those things. Like I said, we're in a day and age of information, and so I see like with time comes understanding. With time, we start knowing how to really go around it. And I think the whole thing with marriage, I believe that a biggest thing to really come to terms with is like not to come to terms with, but just to realize going into marriage is like, okay, obviously we're one. It's not just about me, but like really understanding your partner on both sides, but then reciprocating. Okay, this is how we're gonna go about it, um, and it's just like I think with the day and time and age that we're in is just like because like marriage was just this type of thing where it's like, oh, this person looks good, or we're getting together for a tradition or getting ready for if you're in Hollywood for more publicity, whatever it is. And it's just like you take that sacred thing not realizing, excuse me, really what it is that you're going into.
yeah,
But like how I look at it is even when you're stepping into something, because I believe like a lot of us take on baggage whether we know it or not. Especially like with you coming from like you don't really have that father figure, right? That could be some type of baggage. So it's like you may have your own consciousness for how to treat a woman, but to her that might look completely different
or you
being
don't,
in that relationship, or
or
you
you
don't.
don't.
It,
That's really where I'm at.
a lot of
There's
people don't
situations
even.
where I'm just like, I don't know how to do that, and I tell her that I'm like, I don't know how to. I did not see that growing up. I saw it on TV, but
Right.
I don't know. So just like background, she comes from a household with mom and dad in the house,
Mm.
grandma and grandpa together, aunts and uncles together. So she's seeing successful marriages everywhere. Flip
But
side for me, I don't see it anywhere. Not mom. Well, my mom and papa, yes, but I barely
mm,
ever saw them. Not mom, not brother, not sister, not aunts, not uncles. The only aunt and uncle that we had that was together was Uncle Doobie and Auntie Robin, and then and you can bleed these names if you need. And then later on in life, it was Auntie Diane and Uncle Anthony, but I never saw Uncle Anthony
I
and
think
I never saw them. And then so when I'm going back to handle the simplest of tasks or behave a certain way in certain situations, I behave in the way that I know how, which is how mom would handle her situations. She's a single parent. So sometimes when I do handle my business, I handle it like it's just me. And I think that's the hardest thing for me to have learned since this marriage. It's just like, it's not just me.
mm,
Every decision that I make now has to go through her. Every decision that she makes now has to go through me.
mm-hmm.
And then,
Would you say that you see your guys as like, because I don't, obviously you didn't have that figure there to really like give an example, which I kind of want to touch on my thoughts on that. But um, when it comes to like being in that moment, for you, are you more traditional where it's like, because I see my kind, and I can explain it, but like I see myself as more traditional. Like obviously I'm the head of the household. Um, we make decisions together, but that at the same time I get the final say. Not to say because I don't. I know a lot of people are sensitive nowadays and they take things wrong. Not saying that her opinions don't matter, but it's
yeah,
more so to say that my decisions isn't based off of, let's say, feelings, or I'm doing this out of the greater good for both of us as
yeah,
a whole. So even if you don't see the outcome, because and it's not, it is placed from experience. Because even when I'm in a relationship with my girlfriend, it's like I might make a decision. Hey, we're not gonna do that today.
mm-hmm.
Well, Papa, why? I want to go. We're not gonna do it today. she might, and especially like with being the man, is like I hear a lot of people say, like even in other podcasts, they're like, oh, we're the most hated. We're the most hated because we make the hard decisions. We have to stand on it regardless. And so I have a very open mind when it comes to like learning stuff consciously, subconsciously, mentally, feelings wise, because even when I had a relationship with Hannah, right, um, I went through a lot. And a part of me, I want to say, like, because I believe that men have a masculine side and a feminine side, obviously, a little bit somewhat in them. Depending on how they grow up, more one can be more greater than other. And so when I was in that situation, obviously I felt wrong. Oh, you did this to me, you did that wrong. But coming out of the relationship, it's like, okay, well, as a man, what could I have done better? Even though this is not true that I did something to make it get to this point, or even if it wasn't the main cause, what could I have done better? And so what I compounded upon myself was I need to be more consistent. I need to be more considerate. Certain stuff like where it's just like I want to still work on myself because I know even when I go to the next person, especially if like it's like one, two, three people saying the same thing, then you definitely know you got an issue. And so it was like when I got to Erica, right? She said certain similar things, a couple things, and it was just like, you know what? I'm glad that you said that. I'm not gonna get mad at it. I'm not gonna feel some type of way. I might be upset in the moment because like you sound like my ex or blah blah whatever, but that's something I need to work on. And something recently, and I think a lot of dudes need to really pay attention to this nowadays because a lot of us men are taking the like I touched on masculinity, but we need to go about it in the correct way. How I see masculinity is like you have the authority, you have the power because obviously 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have mental, psychological, or physical power over a woman, but it's like to what degree are you enforcing that? To what degree are you trying to be out there? Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be trying to push that on her or oh, you're gonna do this, blah blah, whatever. But it's to know, okay, I have this and this. How can I be loving? How can I be compassionate? How can I be kind and know that I'm still secure where I'm at as a man? You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's the complexity
That's
of
important.
it.
The security for sure. I'm a very. I like to think of myself as a very patient person. Uh,
I thought you were
I
gonna say
can
insecure.
be, I can be selfish, for sure. Especially, with brother and sister being a lot older than me, and you were close in age to me, but we did not live with each other for that much amount of time. So a lot of my upbringing, I was almost like an only child, kinda. Like I was the only kid in the house for a while. So I could be selfish at times. Um, but the reason I say that is because one of your earlier points that you made with like decision making and things like that, I am very open. Like I do let her make a lot of decisions, but I'm very rigid on things that I'm adamant about. Like if it's something I really don't, or if it's something I really care about, or something I really don't want to do, we're not doing it,
Right.
or we're not doing it this way or that day, and I'll hold that line. But then like everything else, is pretty much on the table. Like how you want to do it.
I think that side of standing on your word, bro, it's so tough. And I'm like I said, like even making hard decisions sometimes it's like, um, I feel like it was just like a lot of. It's weird because the obviously we have totally different minds from women and totally different, you know what I'm saying, builds and whatever the case is, and so they might come at it like, okay, I'm going to challenge you or say certain things and expect you, I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to expect you to be like, okay, take charge or take, whatever. And so I struggled with that a lot back then. Because it was like, even it, and I say that it is, I'm not just, pulling it out of my butt or whatever, but I'm like, when I've had a conversation, because I've conversated with my ex, like, after, like, we broke up and whatever, like, right after, and we talked about it, and it's helped me to become a better man, because, like, when I looked at it, it was like, well, what, kind of like, what was this about? And it was like, it was real openness and transparency. Like, I wish you stood on your word more. Like, be a man. Like, actually, like, speak up. Like, in her context, like, I know her context, she was like, kind of like put me in my place, whatever, whatever. But it was like certain stuff like that where it's like, be a man, make the decision, speak up. You know what I'm saying? Speak your mind, speak with your chest, stuff like that. And as a man, it kind of like hurts your ego a little bit, because like, dang, okay,
Wow.
okay. But it's like, it,
God,
it was
dog.
a it was a really humbling and sobering thing, but not just to take that, but then also to find a balance, because I feel like a lot of men nowadays is they see this type of dude, this person gets more attention from females, gets more respect from a female, this one is all this and it too far left. But it's like, where can you find the in between where I have the loving side, but I have the authoritative side, to where it's like, I'm the best man I can be, not for myself, but also for the both of us, where I still maintain that respect, um, but still show love and compassion. And I see it even with Jesus, because like, even with Jesus in the Bible, is very explicit on love is kind, love is patience, love is something more than just the feeling. Love is more than just the, oh well, giggly bubblies. It's like, I'm here regardless of what's going on. I'm here because of love. I'm here through the pain, in my pain, in your pain, because of the love. Let's make this work. I'm going to do my part in my side of it, because that's where my love is. And so it's just like, as a man, it's like, you have to make those hard decisions. You have to find that common ground of, okay, I can't assert myself a certain way, but then I also can't be too lenient where I'm caving myself in and just balling up everything. Because at that point, I truly believe, some people might think different, but I truly believe, one, you're losing respect. And then two, you're not communicating effectively for your portion or the part, because now you're dealing with something internally. And a lot of things that happen in marriages is where the man just gets fed up. He just gets fed up. And how many times you hear that story where, oh, well, he just went crazy, he just started throwing stuff, or he screamed at me or hit me, and Lord forbid, I'll never hit no woman. But it's just like, men really do get to that point. And it's all because we aren't taught younger how to deal with our masculinity in the proper way. We're not taught to deal with our emotions in an effective way, our way of thinking, and trying to bottle everything up. And it's just a weird and very, very important thing, especially when it comes to pride, because I think, like, even with selfishness, and I deal with a lot of stuff, and like, even to today I'm still trying to work on, but like, pride and like all of that stuff is very damaging to men, and I don't think it's talked about enough at all, uh, especially like, and you know how they say, like, the most common thing, pride comes before the fall, right? And it's just funny how everything works out. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and it took me to break up with a woman that I felt was, or we broke up, which, for a little certain time, that I took very seriously, and I started to reflect on myself, like, what, I know we broke up for certain reasons, both of us have stuff going on, but like, what am I doing that I should be doing better? And obviously I had those moments where I'm like, I get irritated, so I might say something to make you feel bad, or I might say something out of spite, you know what I'm saying, or be petty, whatever the case is. And it's like, where is that coming from? And one day I actually was praying, like, I was praying one day, and I was just like, and I was just thinking about everything that happened. I don't know if you knew this, but like, when I was younger too, and I'm not proud of it at all, but I cussed mom out one day, back in Indianapolis, I think. Cause I was like, you delusional B, and I was like, and I obviously I felt bad after, cause I'm like, I don't know why I said that, but then it's like looking back at it, it's like why. First, I don't care who. Like, there's no place for a child to speak to a woman or your father like that. Um,
Where you learn that
what? What the I don't know.
from?
But I
You
did.
learned it somewhere, man.
Hey, public school. We'll just say that,
All
I
right,
guess.
bet. As long as it
But
wasn't for me.
nah. But it's just when you come from that, and then even like the micro trans things, like, cause obviously I wouldn't have done that. That was the only time I've done that, and that was the last time I will do it. And I'm not proud of it. But like even going past into previous relationships, like when I'm conversating with um my sister, like Trinity, or talking to Nana, stuff like that, I find myself like getting like kind of irritated. Like, okay, well you're asking me questions you already asked, like, or I might, and I believe that is arrogance or pride, where it's like that was a stupid question. Why would you ask me that? Or like you know the answer to that question, and it's just like I found myself like even I would even impose that on Erica in certain ways, and it was just like I like it came to, and obviously that deeply hurt her because she's very sensitive. And she's like, I don't like how you speak to me. I don't like how you talk to me, and
She
so
says that to you?
yeah, she said that to me a couple of times, and it took me to get to a point of just like, yo, I don't know why I do that, and it's like and like I don't know why, like, and I don't want to do it, and it like one day I was praying because really we was broken up, and I was like feeling insecure and stuff. Not insecure by myself, but like more so like I'm like, what is she doing? Like, where's she at? You know, stuff like that. And so the Holy Spirit told me to go grab some oil. So I grabbed some oil and I poured it in my hands. I started praying, and when I tell you, as soon as that oil touched my head, and he said like cover your mind, because I was like ask him like take these thoughts away. I don't want to like think like this. I don't want to like be hurting like this. I put it on my head, and as I'm praying, like like just bust out tears, snot, like everything. Just I'm breaking down crying, and um I'm breaking down crying. I'm praying and praying, and then I'm just like I get into like a for uh um asking for forgiveness state where I'm just like, Lord, I have, whether I know what I've damaged, how I've damaged her or didn't damage her, I know that I've damaged this person in some type of way. And even with the other women in my life, I feel like that I have had pride, I've had arrogance, or I've had built up things that I shouldn't be. Like these are your women that you place in my life. These are your children. These are like my elderly. These are like this is like, and I just felt so I felt so much remorse and sadness, because it was like I really did that. Those words came out of my mouth. Like those, even the intentions in my mind, I was thinking like that, and I like it was just like it was so hurtful to think that I would even think like that or say certain stuff, and it was just like it put me in a place where I was just like, yo, I don't want to be like this. And ever since like that day changed me. So you know, nobody's perfect. I sometimes I get into those moments where I'm like a little impatient, or like, oh, that's stupid. But it's like, okay, let me calm myself down. Like, it's not that serious. You gotta remember, like, this is your elder or they're older. You gotta remember, okay, well, they might not understand what was going on. It's not in your perspective. Think from, you know what I'm saying? Like, think differently. Be renewed in your mind. Don't. And it's hard, like, especially with like men. I don't know why, and I think it's just like I really think it's a spiritual thing when it comes to it, like pride and certain things that we as men like suffer with. I think it's funny that you say like even the selfish part, because I found myself doing some really selfish stuff sometimes, like really effed up, like messed up sometimes, and it and what gets you is like sometimes you might see it, but like sometimes you do it subconsciously, and that's where it really is wild. Because I remember like I think I had a me and Eric was laying in bed one day, right? and I had a pillow. Or no, she had her pillow, but it was like my pillow that I used. And so I'm like, where's the extra pillow? So I go upstairs looking for it, and I'm like, kind of upset because I'm like having to get out of bed. I bring it downstairs. I grab my pillow back, and then I give her the pillow, like kind of like toss it to her, and she's like, "You just gonna give me the not dirty one, but it's like, cause we both kind of germaphobes, whatever. But like the pillow was like upstairs on the couch, and anybody could have been laying on it.
Right.
You know, the dog could have got on it, whatever. And so I gave her that pillow. I rolled over on my pillow and just tried to go to sleep. She's like, "You really just did that? Like that's so messed up that you know whatever." So she didn't even use the pillow. She threw it off. And so I'm thinking like, to me, even if we're both germaphobes, because I'm very, how I think about it should be, at least for me, not everybody, you don't have to agree with me on this, but like, it should be almost like, okay, your wife gets the best of, or your children get the best of. They get the best first. So like if we're in the hunting days, I'm going out, I'm a catch something. I might eat a little something, but I want to make sure they well fed.
Right.
I want to make sure they get, heat and like, and I, not that I'm not like that.
Was that the best pillow?
I would say I guess so.
You got the best.
At least in that moment, my pillow was the best pillow because like the other pillows upstairs were both germaphobes. We don't know if who was laying on it, sitting on it, and so she wanted. Oh, I wanted the clean pillow. I was like, this is my pillow. I sleep with it every time. So I just tossed the other one to her, and obviously a little out of frustration, and it was like I'm thinking like, dang, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. And so I apologize and stuff, but it was like thinking on it, it's like I've had moments. I've had a lot of moments where, like I said, my stepdad, he's taught me how to be a gentleman. So it's not like I'm not a gentleman. I do gentleman things, but then sometimes I get to that point where my selfishness might kick in, and I do something like that when I know I could have given the first fruit. I could have been more giving and loving. Okay, well, I'm gonna do this for you because I know that you want this. You know what I'm saying? I got you, babe. Let me do this for you instead of
That's
what
a
I did.
skill, man.
It's just
Skill. Some people just have it naturally. Some people got to work on it. It's a skill for sure. So I resonate with that.
that's
That story for sure.
how was your first time like hoping Auntie Chessie doesn't get feel some type of way, but how was your first time like losing your virginity? Do you remember that?
Losing my virginity.
Yeah.
That wasn't with Francesca.
No.
Huh?
No.
I said it wasn't.
No. I'm saying like.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just saying because I don't know how some people still feel some type of way about stuff like even if it's years. But I'm saying like what was your because I know mine. But
To be 100% honest with you, I don't remember.
wow.
I don't actually like.
Why
I don't
why
remember
is that?
the time. I remember the person. I don't remember the time though.
Do you recall like how it went down? What happened?
Oh,
Wow.
I must have blocked it out. I don't know. I don't.
It had to be a bad experience for you to block it
I
out
mean,
like
I don't
that.
know. Honestly, I can think back to a time where I think that may have been my first time, but again, I'm not sure. I don't remember. It could have been a time before that. Yes, I don't remember it.
My experience was every time I tell my experience to other girls, they say that they consider it rape, but
Like, like from a woman's perspective.
from a woman's perspective, when I
But
was
like the woman did the raping.
yeah. I mean, cause I lost it in a relationship, but I exclaimed to this person. I was like, and this was when I was like 20, but I was like, I was playing. I'm trying to wait till marriage, and
You might have been the same age.
probably. But I was like, I'm gonna wait till marriage. Like I told her even before we got together, I was like, I'm gonna wait till marriage. And we like months and almost coming up on like a few months out from a year. And I remember like yesterday, but it was it was here. It was here. Um, I was getting off work, and this was like the day before Christmas, so Christmas Eve. Got off.
Right.
Got no the day before Christmas. So
Christmas
it's the day
Eve,
before Christmas Eve, right?
23rd.
Um. Oh no, my bad. It was on Christmas Eve, but a day or two prior, like a day or two prior, I asked her, What do you want for Christmas?" She's like, "Oh, I want your virginity." I was like, "Oh, you funny." She was like, "Oh, you think I'm playing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, no, seriously. She was like, "Oh no, I'm being serious." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." But I was like, "Just send me your list." So she ended up sending me a list, a little bit of a list later, or like I had like pictures on my phone, like she go in the store. I took random pictures like behind her back to whatever she
Yeah.
touched, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get her stuff. On Christmas Eve, I get off work, I come downstairs, completely naked, got the whole room cleaned up, like shower mist coming out the bathroom, and candle like a little soft music playing. I'm just like, and the funny thing is, cause I got off the phone with Dejan, and I was just like, I just got off the phone with him before I walked in the room, and he was like, "Hey, be careful," and I was like, "I got you." He's like, "Nah, I'm just saying, just be careful." I don't know what he was telling, but I could tell something was going on spiritually right there. But I walked in the room after I got off the phone, and of course that happened, and I go up to her, I'm like, what's going on? Like, you're like, oh, I just thought we could, do so and so. And I'm like, no, I don't, like, you know how I feel about it. And so it was like she guilt tripped me after that. It was like, oh, I get it. You don't love me. I see. I knew this. You, blah, blah. You don't love me. You rather do it with somebody else. I'm not your type. Yada, yada. And she was just going on. I'm like, no, that's not the case. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do this. And then if something happens, it happens. And so we start doing it, or not doing it, but like, I'm trying to be too explicit, but like, giving me head or whatever. Right. And then I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel weird. Not weird, but I'm just like, I hope she don't do this knowing that I don't like this. Or not like it, but like knowing that
Yeah.
what I'm really trying to be in. And so I'm like, I didn't know. I just like, let's just see if she respects
Yeah.
that. And so after a little bit, she gets on and then sit, bam. And I'm just like sitting, and I'm just like thinking, that really just happened. Like,
Now, were y'all in the same situation?
what do you mean? Or like the same night that this
The
was.
same level of experience?
No, she's
Okay.
had
Okay.
before multiple times, and then also she had a child,
Okay.
and so I felt, man, when I say I was pissed, I was mad, I was so upset, like we're doing it, but I was just like low key angry, and then like I like after it happened, I was just like, I just felt so much like just regret. You know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah.
straight regret. And I'm just like, why? Like, so it was a very interesting moment, but I don't know. It was a weird, interesting moment for me. But every time I bring it up to other people, every time I bring it up to other people, or like women from their perspective, oh, that's not funny, blah blah, or like, I don't know,
I
cause I
mean, if the
laughed at
roles
them.
was reversed, it would definitely
Definitely.
be that R word for sure.
But I think it would go. You know what? I think when men rape, they rape like physically, like, oh, I'm gonna do this. But then when it's like with women, it's more so psychologically.
Yeah. I mean, I could.
Cause like
It would have to be
it's not like
because
they gon'
physically, you could have been like,
right. It could
"Get
have
off of me!" You could have
bam.
threw her halfway across the room, but you didn't because of the the psychological or emotional toll that you put on you. Oh, you not this, or you don't want this from me, or I'm not your type, or that kind of thing. Like that may sound just like words, but
Mm.
that's like the equivalent of. Never mind. I have no idea what it's like to be raped in either side of perspective. So I don't know what
I've
it's like to be raped. I'm just saying
just
that could be used
right.
as a weapon, um, or as a mechanism to get something out of someone that they may not want to give you, but now they feel like, oh, I need to do this.
It's all about some way of enforcing yourself. I guess it's really just forcing yourself on that person. When it's just forcing yourself, whether it be psychologically or physically, you're still forcing yourself on something. I did want to get on my last thing I did want to really ask you. Have you ever tried drugs before?
What do you mean by drugs?
I don't know.
What
Like,
kind of drugs?
have you ever messed with like I don't know. It's different from every other. I've known somebody that's tried perks, somebody that's tried coke. Um, I haven't really. I don't know too many people, but shrooms, LSD, stuff like that. Weed.
Gummies is like the
Have you ever done LSD?
no.
You haven't dabbled.
Huh?
You never dabbled in LSD or anything?
It was this one time we was out, um, and we was at a P&L, and we was out, and then we was like, oh man, I gotta run back out to the car. It was me, my roommate, and then this other guy that he knew. And so they had carpooled. I came from my job in my car, but we went out to their truck, and he was like, oh man, let me get inside your truck. I'm gonna do this white girl in the car.
It was being like sketchy.
And so yeah, a little bit sketchy. I'm like, this dude about to do a white girl in the car? Like, there's a white
Wait,
girl in the
he
car?
didn't roofie her, did he?
No, hold on. So I'm like, hey, you talking about you about to do a white girl in the car? And he was like, no. So when he was saying I'm about to do this white girl in the car, he was talking about cocaine. I'm about to do a line of cocaine.
Was it a white dude?
Let me get the keys to the car because it's in the car. Let me do a line in the car real quick. So I'm like laughing because I'm thinking you talking about like having sex with a white girl. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he comes out. He's like, man, y'all want some? And I was like, nah, man, I'm good. Like,
At this time, did you still think the same thing, or
what do you mean?
like did you still think like?
Nah, I
was
knew
he like trying to pass on sloppy seconds?
I knew he was talking about cocaine
Okay.
at that time. So I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. My roommate was like, nah, man, I'm good. He was like, oh man, you don't need to like snort it or anything like that. You can just like rub it on your teeth or something like that. And I was like, nah, I'm cool, but I'm good, bro. And then so my roommate took some and put it on his teeth, and he was like, bro, you want some? And I'm like, all right, dude. So I like put some on my tooth, but it was.
What did it taste
honestly,
like?
It tastes like.
Like chalk or something?
It tastes like. It was probably like that much impact. Not even that much. It was literally like. I'm trying to think of like a quantity of how much. It was. It literally like from here to here. I think it fell off my finger, and it didn't even like get. But it felt like it didn't feel like anything. Honestly.
But what did it taste like though?
It was like super bitter, like.
Oh, bitter.
Like rubber.
Ugh.
Like if you ever get like a eraser in your mouth or something like that. But
drugs do a weird thing to the mind. I think it's
that I don't think I got it. Clearly, I didn't have enough because I didn't.
See, I've never done any. Obviously, not no hard drugs. I mean, obviously, I've drank liquor and I've never smoked. I've taken a CBD gummy.
Yes.
One time I accidentally took a THC strand, which was like it was actually a higher dosage. I don't know anything about too much of it, but
yes.
See, drugs do a weird thing to your mind, and I actually think that it dabbles a little bit into like some soulish and spiritual stuff, but it's just Cause when I've taken it, obviously it started the same way that it usually starts when I've taken another last one. Except for first off, I was at a family event. It wasn't a family event, but it was like I was with Jamar, Joshua, and them, and then Terrell and my mom and stuff like that. And this is when I was dating Hannah, but I was in a movie. It started regular, and then everything started seeming weird. Like everything started like I was like 3 seconds in the. We were watching the movies. We were in the movies, and I'm like, it started like it almost like I was teleporting in time. I was like, why? Like I'm starting to get confused because I was like, we were just on this part, and it was just like, you kind of blank out, but then you're like, wait, what? And for some reason, I felt like my vision was getting sharper, like almost like laser. Like my vision was like so precise, like everything, like small things. I was just like watching the movie. I was like, bro, like, hold on, like this. Wait, I gotta chill out.
Like
And so
limitless.
I started feeling myself breathe, and it was like I feel like when I'm breathing, it's making like I feel like I feel myself breathing. Like I don't like this. Like so I was low key about to go into full panic mode.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah, I get paranoid.
I looked at her. I was like, yo, I need you to get me out of here. I was like,
Yeah.
I need you to get me out of here. I'm like, yo, so I go down, we go downstairs. I'm like, we send on the thing. She's like, okay, just listen to me, just relax, blah, blah. And it's kind of where I just like, I close my eyes, but I'm like, not black out, but it's like, everything just went weird. So she's talking, but she sounds like a ghetto version. Like she's talking normal, like talking like this, but like everything she was saying, like okay, like you gotta chill, you just gotta, and like everything she was saying, like it was
Yeah.
registering to my mind that way, and I'm like, bro, it's weird. And then my mom came out, she sounded like SpongeBob.
What?
I was like, and then my stepdad came out. He was talking and like he didn't, but I like, when like you close your eyes and you're imagining, and you're like imagine, okay, I imagine this person standing here or whatever they're doing, and so I was imagining like Terrell, my dad, and then my mom, like my mom was SpongeBob. She didn't really sound like it, but like I could see like her figure, like her being like right there was SpongeBob, and then my dad was
Oh.
Patrick, and I was just like, I'm like listening, and he's like freaking out, like, why the ball this and that, like why are you taking drugs, whatever, because he thinks I took drugs and stuff, but and so I'm just like, yo, I need a hospital, like, and they ain't gonna do
So
nothing,
they
but I'm
found out because you were like, I gotta go.
somebody went back in, I think it was my mom because she didn't know what to do. I think she went back into the movie theater and told him, and he came downstairs. He's like, why the f Boba you take a drug, like what's going on, Boba? And I'm like hearing him, but like I'm not really focusing because I'm like thinking like I might die tonight, like I just hear stuff, and I see Patrick and SpongeBob. She sound like a ghetto version of something.
Yeah.
It was weird.
No, let
So
me like so if I do have that, I do get paranoid. Um,
get the
and I
freaking
thought I
out.
was gonna die one time because I'm like, I can feel my heartbeat. I already don't like that feeling. Like sometimes if I go to sleep on my left side, I can just feel my heartbeat, and so I don't like to sleep on my left side because I just don't like the way it feels. But one time when I did
That's
take a
very
gummy,
specific.
I could feel my heart beating, and I was like ready to not ready to not feel it, but I was expecting to not feel it,
That's weird.
and then expect to. I was about to like die.
Do you think that certain reaction to stuff like that has to do with something internally? Because I think
It could be.
when I'm thinking about it, I think
It's all paranoia.
I'm used to. I think it's more so when you react like that is you're used to being in control of certain things. So when you feel like you're not in control, you get to a place of reacting in a I'm
Yeah.
uncertain what's going on, so I'm
Yes.
about to freak out
Yeah.
because I can't
Anxiety.
control what's going
I mean
on.
that's the definition of anxiety. It's just like fear that you fear and like not having control over that fear or the situation. And then
Did you get that from
drastically
Inside
try
Out?
No, no, no.
Yeah, I just thought about the guy. I didn't even think about that, but I just started thinking about Inside Out. I just went to see it, and I was like, wait a minute, that does make sense because in the movie, I don't want to spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But
Spoiler
in a
alert.
movie, she was like always trying to be in control
Yeah.
and anxious about this is going on. But I
And
didn't
trying
know
to
that
find
that
a
was
solution.
actually yeah.
Hitting the fear and then immediately being like, oh, I know how to fix that, and then going and trying to fix it and then making it worse. Which, consequently, Joy is the same way. Which I don't know if
Joy.
that was on purpose, but she like Joy was kind of like the
I
head
think
emotion in Kid Riley because she was mostly a happy child, and I think as she grew older, you know, when people was moving out and people was moving in, she grew some anxiety, and then for a very short time in her life, which is the period of the movie,
I think that was
anxiety
that
was her biggest emotion that she felt.
I think that that part in the movie, I don't know the word for it, but it's kind of like not metaphorically, but in some way trying to play into like, oh, my joy is fleeting
Yes.
in a way. Like
Yeah.
I have fleeting joy in my life right now because of what's going on.
It was gone.
I want to see them do another movie, but I think that was very interesting that they did the whole puberty thing. I'm interested in seeing like midlife crisis.
Yeah.
'Cause
Or I was wondering
you
if they
don't
were
think
gonna
that
get to like anxiety medicine.
are you at
I
that?
wasn't sure if they was gonna get to that point or like therapy, but
Oh, that'd be
yeah,
terrible.
just like
I
having
feel
a
like that would
therapist.
take a dark turn though, going into medicine and
I just feel like we don't know that much. They
would
don't
you?
know enough to make a movie about it, or maybe they
Right,
can
right.
make the movie about them not knowing. But
Are you Do you think that you're in like a? You're not at the age of midlife crisis, are you? When do they say that's at like,
I don't
oh,
know.
quote unquote, like 40s or something,
I don't think I
30s?
got enough going on to get a midlife crisis.
You're a pretty happy person, at least from what I see.
I ain't even got kids. How
Please
you
don't.
gonna have kids out of
I
midlife
want to say
crisis?
don't get kids. It feels so weird. Like I remember when I was younger, I was like, please, like the thought of you having kids was so.
Me?
Yeah, cause I was always trying to hang out with you and stuff, and hang out with Lamar and them. It was like, if you get kids, then you really gonna be gone forever. And then also, I was like, that would be weird, cause then you gonna.
That's not true though,
I saw like,
because
oh, you gonna give him
I
attention, like
would
you
want
gonna
my
play
kid
games,
to
and
know you.
I mean now I don't think about it too much, but it's still weird to think about sometimes, like you having a kid.
A kid would probably make us even closer. I want them to know you. I want them to know you. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would love that.
Because I think in the state like where I am now, very much is like trying to build a life with Francesca.
Mm.
Um, and I know y'all, right? Like besides like little bitty babies who I haven't been around, but for the most part, like I know y'all, so I feel like I think I get into a rut where I'm like, all right, let me focus on this relationship here so I can build something and then have a solid foundation for when I do have a kid, introduce them to a healthy relationship and show them that I love their mom and all these things. Um, but I just feel like if there was a kid in the situation,
I
I'd probably
really,
be around even more because I'm like I need I need you to know. First of all, you're black side for those that know my wife is white. I need you to know your black side. I need you to know the people on my side of the family because you're
you
gonna see
don't
a
be
lot of
around us no
you're gonna
more.
see a lot of me and them.
You don't be around us no more. But we don't really be doing too much. I mean, here and there, family events, but
I'm at the big
I
ones.
don't know. Yeah, I did. I highly commend you on that though, cause I mean, keeping a marriage fresh and I think Francesca has a really good set of mind on that too. Um, just as far as like y'all keeping everything fresh, trying new things, living life, and you know what I'm saying, focus on y'all side of it, the actual marriage and the actual bond before getting the kids, because obviously when the kids come into it, it's like okay, well we
That
gotta shift the
was
focus.
she was
It gets a little
she
harder.
was big on that one. She's like, I really want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like to be us for a little bit before. And
Yes.
for me, I'm chill. I'm not like I need to have a kid now. Now I am getting old.
I think
I
I
do
think that
want to be able to do some stuff with my kids. So
Yeah.
that time is nearing. But we both agreed like it's very important for us to be with each other and just us, just to learn each other as much as we can before we
That background
do
sound
something
like
like
it
that.
comes from her working with kids and stuff. I already knowing kind of.
I work with kids more than she did.
You do?
Yeah, I still
Wait, do you
work with
still?
kids.
What are you still doing the? Oh, what exactly are you doing now?
I'm a general manager.
But like, you're not doing this thing that you used to do, where it's
No,
like,
no, 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 no. But I did that longer than she. I did that for 6 years. She did it for
oh,
a
okay,
year and a
okay.
half.
So it's just a preference thing then. I was gonna say I thought it was like more so like, oh, I've dealt with kids, so it's like, like
That
I
too.
love kids, but I don't want to.
That too,
I know how
though.
it
Right?
goes.
Plus y'all,
Mm.
right? All of y'all, and you and your brothers and sister, and then Eric's kids, and then Lamont's kids, and I was just like, for me, I was like, I have my share of interaction with little kids, so I'm not like
Do you believe you're
rushing to get my own. Plus, I worked with kids. I've worked with kids for like almost 10 years now, so it's like
Do you believe your upbringing, certain things that happen in your upbringing, like, say if, like for Joshua, drumming, or you found yourself around a lot of kids, or like siblings, or, you know, nephews, you found yourself, oh, I'm gonna play with you, to where like it determines your career later down the line because you reflected so much on your
mm,
childhood with it.
I think it
I think,
definitely opens up opportunities.
but you don't think it has like a impact where it's like, cause like usually, you know how like in movies where you'll see somebody and, oh, um they always was like bossy or something. They end up coming the president, or this person was always like this, and
I definitely think like character traits and personalities have a lot to do with the kind of career that you choose. And for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, my experience with kids, it just it kept that door open for opportunities to work with kids. 'Cause I already knew like, oh, I like kids. Like I interact with kids. Like I work well with kids. So anything that has to do with working with a kid, instead of that door being closed, it's open because I have that comfortability. And just like me being a general manager, like one of the questions I ask when I hire people is like, "Have you ever worked with kids before? Tell me about that job. How did you feel about it?" So it definitely. And if they have not worked with them, but they have a similar story like me,
mm,
oh no, but I have like 8 brothers and sisters or cousins or whatever. I can be like, oh, okay, well that is useful, at least in just like knowing how to talk to a kid,
mm,
um, and that's the very start of it. But I definitely think it has something to do with it. But I
that's
do have
fair.
to go.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
no, you're good.
We got to do a part two.
We are gonna do our part two sometime soon. I know you gotta go. Do you have anything to leave the audience off with? Any projects coming up? Anything you're working on
Project?
for them? Check on music, uh,
Nah, man. I mean, I got
TikToks.
my SoundCloud. They call me Bees. DAY. Call me Bees. BEZZ. There's a bunch of stuff on there. There's all kinds of music on there. That's all old stuff. We got a song on there called Living. Uh,
We gotta make something more recent
but you got my mic and my
equipment
not
now.
MIDI, my interface. So
Pass it
I
down.
can't record anything anymore. But I still got
Oh,
songs on the hard drive. I still got rhymes in the notes section. Um, but it's just like I told Francesca, I was like, when I made music, I did it when I had nothing else to do.
like a hobby. You know,
Like when I had
side eye.
nothing else to do, that was my time to make music. Now that I'm married in a relationship, there's always something for me to do. I'm always doing something, working,
Mm,
doing something with her family, our family. Like that, something's always going on. I was like, so I just don't have that creative space anymore. Cause she's always like,
wow.
you used to write songs about me and for me and all this stuff, and it's like,
Um,
yeah, but that's because I had time to do it. I don't have time to do it anymore. But I still very much love music. my mind is always going. I feel like I come up with a new song and a dream every other week. But then I wake up and forget it. So sometimes I wake up and remember it, and then I record it like on my voice memos. But yeah, so I ain't got no new projects out there. I'm not really prevalent on social media either. That's another thing that was more of a free time thing. That was
He's more of a free spirit.
It was a tool to meet people, meet women. I have a woman now, so I don't get on social media anymore. That was the sole purpose for it for me. So yeah, y'all can listen to my old stuff though. If y'all want.
One day you should surprise her with something.
I ain't got time to make it.
Do it, but all right. Well, I appreciate you coming and doing this podcast with me. Thank you, my good sir. Uncle Flex.
Come here. Love you.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna have to bring you back for part 2 one of these days.
Oh, we got to. We only scratched the surface.